All right, good afternoon, everyone. We have Jason joining us from Seaford School District. So we're happy that he is hosting one of these sessions and sharing a little bit more about his school district. So we have some questions we're going to work through. So Jason, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, your role in Seaford School District, and really just sharing with whoever's watching this who Seaford School District is and what you would want potential candidates to know?
Sure. So first off, I'm Cam. I'm the Director of Human Resources for the Seaford School District. But maybe more importantly to all of you, I'm a transplant from Western PA. Graduated from Pitt in 2000, moved down here to Delaware in 01, going to get a couple years experience, and 19 years later, I'm still here and love it. I've no complaints, except there's a few too many Ravens fans, but we've been able to move past that. It's about four and a half, 5 hours from Johnstown, where I'm originally from. I can usually get to Pittsburgh in about 5.5 or 6. So just to give you an idea of where we are, Delaware is a relatively small state. We have only 3 counties. I know that's probably crazy to think of all my Pennsylvania people out there, but Newcastle is basically Wilmington. Kent County is Dover, the capital. Think NASCAR.
Okay.
And then Sussex County is probably most famous for what our college students know, Bethany and Dewey Beach, in Rehoboth area. So that's the eastern side of Sussex County. We're in Sussex County. We're the western side. So they have the surf and the sand and the money. We have the chickens, the farms, and the poverty. And I know it's not a great selling point, but I'm very transparent with who we are and the students that we serve. We have about, and I say about because it's not as easy to figure out the numbers anymore. We're about 75% poverty rate in our district. So 3 out of every 4 students in your classroom are, in that free reduced lunch category. Every student in our district gets free breakfast and free lunch. And that has, when this whole closure first started, our biggest concern was meeting those needs. And I think as of earlier this week, when we met as a group, we had served over 61,000 meals during the course of the closure to our kids. So food trucks going out and everything like that. So we are a school district of about 3,400 students. We have 6 schools. We have 2 K2 schools, 2 3-5 schools, a middle school and a high school. So each of the K2s feeds into their respective sister school, K 3-5. And then everybody comes together as 6th graders as one big happy nest. We're the Blue Jays, so that's why we call it a nest. And we are, I consider us to be a rural school district. I think the proper, a lot of times we get it kind of called a suburban, but there's the city of Seaford, but then the majority of our students come from the outlying areas of the rural parts of the district. So oftentimes I explain it this way: we are a rural school district with urban issues. And we are about 30% white, 30% Hispanic, 30% African-American, and then 10% other. But of that other, 9.9% of it is Haitian Creole. So we really feel that where we are in Sussex County gives students a big advantage of the diversity that we have. Not a lot of school districts where we are have that, and we really think it gives our students a big advantage of how, when they go out into the real world, when they go off to college, of dealing with a lot of diverse. You go in the cafeteria at the high school and you have 2 African American students and 2 white students and 3 Hispanic and 2 Haitian Creoles, and you might have 3 different languages going on at some point in that table, but they're all sitting together because that's all they've known from kindergarten. And there's a lot of good in that. We don't. We're a public school district, so I mean we have issues at our high school like any other public school district at middle school. Kids will be kids, but we have very few issues in regards to race or anything like that, which we're very, very appreciative of. And it's a very diverse group that really is accepting.
That's great. Jason, what do you find that employees like most about your school district?
I would say that they like the closeness of it, that we really are about the kids, and that every decision we ever make is about the students. I've said that as a teacher, as a principal, and now in the district office. The first time I make a decision, it's not in the best interest of the kids, is when I'm going to leave, because that's what we're here for. And we have that mentality. The whole time during this closure, there's been a lot more work made by us because we're doing what we feel is right by kids, and that's fine because that's what we're supposed to do. We often talk about that we're big enough to challenge but small enough to care, and so that is really kind of sums up our district and why people like us. And to understand a little bit, I don't want to get too big into a history lesson, but there is something you need to understand. 25 years ago, the Seaford School District was the Joel of Delaware. The DuPont factory had a factory in Seaford, and executive and everything like that. The town was thriving, and those closed late 90s, early 2000. And with that went most of the jobs in the community, a mass exodus of people, and a new whole community came in. So the Seaford School District 25 years ago is not the Seaford School District of now. We serve a whole different population, and it's not an excuse. We don't make excuses, but we often hear about the return to the glory years. There is no return to glory years. We're creating our own glory years with our population because it's a different city and it's a different school district now with the population of who we serve, and challenging at times with that, but we're far enough along. We had a superintendent that came in 6 years ago. He retired in December, and his assistant took over, but he came in 6 years ago. At that point, the district was the lowest scoring district in the state on state assessments. And last year, we had the highest math scores in the state at 3rd through 5th grade.
Wow.
We have a blue ribbon. One of our 3-5 schools is a blue ribbon school. We feel another one of our 3-5 schools is going to be a blue ribbon school in the fall. All 4 of our elementaries have been recognized as a distinguished school. Our middle school and high school are catching up. I was a principal at the middle school and then became principal at the high school before this. It's just a matter of those students that have started being successful with the elementary coming up to the middle and the high. And so we really are one big happy family and program from pre-K to 12, trying to do the same thing. And our ultimate goal from the time the student steps through those doors in kindergarten or pre-K, if they come to us sooner as little J's, is when they walk across that stage and they get a very special piece of paper, very important piece of paper, that they are college and career ready and have the ability to go to college if they desire.
That's great. Jason, what makes your school district, in your opinion, unique, or what is something that most people wouldn't know about Seaford School District?
Yeah, I talked a little bit about that in the last one. I will tell you this. I've worked in 2 other districts in Delaware, and nothing against those other districts, but this is just a special place. I think part of it is that we were so low at one point, and you were losing teachers and hard to staff, and you start climbing out. So you've done all this hard work together, and that really is, I think, what has united us and brought us together. I think it's just the mentality of, too often our students are hurt, here, you can't do this. You're just, you're a Seaford kid. You're not gonna be able to do that. And our kids hear that all the time because, that's part of being in poverty. And we really don't believe in putting ceilings on our students. Yep. And so that's the mentality. And obviously it's worked as we're starting to see the gains that we want. So I think that belief is very unique. We talked about that small enough, to care, big enough to challenge, small enough to care. You don't just see the superintendent and the district office folks at the back to school breakfast and at the end of the year celebration or something. In and out of buildings and talking, even though I'm in HR now, I still have a big heart for instruction. So I still go through lots of things on that end. And we believe it takes all of us to be successful. And from the superintendent down to nutrition staff, service, to custodians, everybody, we're all in this together for the success of our students.
That's great. What is something you look for on a candidate's resume or cover
letter? One of the things I always look for is what leadership roles they have had. Of course, you've got your GPA on there, you've got where you student taught and everything, but I'm looking beyond that. Okay. Were you a president of an organization, or did you have a officer role in an organization? Were you a captain on a team? Because that shows me, one, that you have leadership qualities, and two, that your peers thought enough of you to have you in those roles. And that goes a long way, I have found in my time, in hiring candidates and what I'm looking for above, because there's times when, like, we have an elementary position, we'll get over 200 applicants for the job. So how do you sort that out? Or in a traditional time when we go out recruiting, you get all these applications and you talk to kids, and you talk to so many students for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it is. But when I look at that cover letter, I look at that resume, those are some things I'm looking for. If you are previously employed and you have those things down there, I'm looking, are there supervisors from that current place or a previous place as your reference? Because that goes a long way in telling me, okay, what my boss will say about me. If I don't see a supervisor on there, I can tell you when we interview you, at some point I'm talking to your current supervisor, right, just to find out, because we got to do our due diligence. We invest a lot of time and money into our teachers, and we want them to stay a Blue Jay, they're hopefully for their entire career.
Yeah.
A lot of people, move a few times, present included. But that's kind of our philosophy, and that's what we're looking for. What sets you apart there.
That's great. Do you have any tips for what candidates should do in a job interview?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest first thing is be early. Being on time is not on time when it comes to interviews. You want to dress appropriately. Even if it's via Zoom, you still want to dress appropriately. That's very important. I will tell you, and this is me, if a gentleman comes into an interview and doesn't have a tie on, they better knock my socks off, because that is big to me, even in this era. And I mean, I can't tell you, I have hired folks without one, but they have been the best candidate by and far. And then we have the conversation about dress, but that you get one chance to make that first impression. And that goes a long way. If you come in disheveled or not, not capped, not groomed a certain way, you could have the best answer in the world. It's kind of hard to get past that sometimes. So that is one thing that is two things there that are very important. I want you to be genuine in an interview. I want you to be honest with your answers. I don't want you to say what you think will get you the job. I want you to say what you believe. And it's easy to tell where you are in that, if you're passionate about what you're saying. I also would tell you, you want to do a little bit of research on your school district, and you want to have questions at the end when they ask you, do you have any questions? And don't give me what's your class size, or what technology do you have available? Those are canned questions, and obviously there's some importance there if you want to know something like that, but that can't be your only questions. Or what's the salary? You can find that online. I would tell you to ask questions directly about that school that you think, hey, look, I'm gonna be part of this school, and this is what I want to know. And those are the candidates I have found to be most successful in interviews. But the biggest thing is being genuine. Because if you go in, some people, fake it till you make it. Just, it doesn't work. You want to be genuine, because we can sniff it out right away. And if for some reason you get past us, I guarantee you the students will know how genuine you are to them in a matter of the first day of school.
Yep. I totally agree. Jason, can you talk about any opportunities that are available with Seaford School District, and where candidates, if they're interested, they could find those opportunities to learn more?
Sure thing. So presently right now, we have elementary positions open in 3 of our buildings, both for elementary ed and special ed. At our middle school and high school, we have math positions open. And look, if you're a math candidate, I mean, I want to sit and talk with you. It's a very difficult thing to find, and one of my things, we find somebody good, we always ask, do you have any other math friends, you know, and everything like that. We're also looking for a French teacher at our high school, a special ed teacher at our high school, and let me see where we are, a Spanish immersion teacher in our middle school. So we have a Spanish immersion program that's the kids start in kindergarten, and each year it has grown. So we're into next year will be grade 7.
Okay.
And so the students have their classes in Spanish and English during the course of, especially K through 5, they basically split time. When they get to 6th grade, they have a Spanish literacy course as an elective, and then they have their social studies class in Spanish, and that's in 6th, 7th, and 8th. And then when they get to 9th grade, and we're 2 years away, but we know what we're doing as part of the program, those students take AP Spanish as 9th graders as the capstone of the program. In Delaware, you have to have 2 years of a language in order to graduate. And
Okay.
if you go through the immersion, that requirement is met. So you can actually take more things in college. And the hope is that it sets a lot of those students up who've gone to that program into the ability of taking some dual enrollment classes or more AP to get themselves in a good spot. We really think that if you end up playing it outright and do stuff, you could almost have your first year of college. You could probably have about 24 to 27 credits if you did things right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So, yep. So those are our openings. You can go to seafordbluejays.org. That is our website. And when you go in there, you go to human resources, and there is a button there that says job opportunities, and everything we have available is over there to that side. I would tell you to check it. I usually say weekly, but this time of year, you really want to check it every 2 or 3 days, because there's postings. I thought I was in pretty good shape for some stuff, and this morning had a meeting with principals via Zoom, and I was sitting here getting ready for this, and about 12:30, I get an email from my 1K2 principal saying, hey, 2 teachers just called me and said they were leaving for another district. So that's additional special education opening and elementary opening that we have, but that's how it happens throughout the summer. So you want to be looking. You don't want to miss out on an opportunity because I didn't look at it for a week.
Exactly.
So there is a Join Delaware Schools Consortium in Delaware. We are not part of that. So you actually have to go to our website and apply off of our website with what I gave you, which is the seafordbluejays.org. If you are in Join Delaware Schools, it's all frontline, all Applitrack. You can import that application, so you don't have to do it again, to our website. It's just having it filled out, and there's directions on how to do that on that website.
That's great. That's awesome. We'll definitely share that. Jason, to wrap up, what is one piece of information you'd like to leave anyone that's watching this video with?
I can truly say I've been where you are, figuratively and literally. One of the hardest decisions I ever had to make was to move to Delaware. And we had vacationed here when I was younger. And, it was just, it was there. And the opportunity presented itself. I interviewed and came down. Like I said, I plan on getting a couple years experience. And then, how it is in Western PA, you got to basically be willed a teaching position to get one. I get some experience and I'd come back. And I moved down here, actually at that time with my fiance, who became my wife, who subsequently became my ex-wife, but that's a whole different story. But she and I only knew her and I were the only 2 people we knew in the state, was each other.
Yeah.
And so it was tough. But you get into a school and you get your colleagues, and then you kind of almost build that. I would tell you that there's about 10, I have 5 friends that have all married, have kids, and we're all kind of in the same boat, didn't have family down here. And we became each other's family. So don't let that fear of an unknown keep you from going what you would do. Yes, would it be great for a lot of people want to stay close to home, and I understand. I have 5 younger sisters, so I left a whole lot when I left, and would go home and visit about 5 or 6 times a year. Not as much anymore with our own kids, and my sister's a little scattered. And my grandparents, my grandfather passed away earlier this year, so just don't go back as much anymore. But it's right there. The nice thing about being where we live in Delaware as well, you're about 2 hours from Philly, 2 hours from Baltimore, 2 hours from DC, 3 hours from New York City. And like I said, the beaches are over. If you're a beach person, they're there, and it's a great area. So don't let that tough step of the unknown or that fear prevent you from doing something, because here it is. If you move and you don't like it, you didn't sign something in stone or in blood that you have to stay, but you'll never know if you don't attempt it and see. And like I said, I'm a perfect example. I never want to leave Western PA. You look behind me, I'm black and gold through and through. And and I had every intention. I just wanted to get a job in the district I graduated from and coach basketball the rest of my life there, and made this move. And 19 years later, this is home, and made a career for myself, my family. As we have a great life down here, and I would hope that some people would want to do the same.
Yeah, that's great advice, Jason. Well, really appreciate you being here. This is really helpful, and hopefully students will take advantage of checking out some opportunities with Seaford School District. So thanks again.
All right. Thank you so much.